Good morning, almost afternoon. We're going to get the meeting started. Why don't we go around the room and do introductions? I'll start with me first. I am Charles Fields. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State for Corporations and Licensing. I am the Secretary's designee to chair these proceedings or meeting.
I'm Whitney Clark. I'm the Director of the Division of Licensing Services.
Duncan McKenzie, a board member.
Charlene, board coordinator.
Donna Zoller, Education and Examination Bureau.
Jerry Jalalo, processing.
Nancy Harrigan.
Anthony Gatto, New York State Association of Realtors. Mike Kelly, New York State Association of Realtors.
Linda Baldwin, General Counsel here at Department of State.
Buffalo.
Dave Rumsey, board member.
Okay. New York City.
Dave Leno, board member.
Amy Pensby, Licensing Services.
Ernie DeGant, Department of State.
Dale Burnett, board member.
Trisha O'Connor-Francis, board member.
Sandra Erickson, board member.
Dan Burstein, Executive Deputy Superintendent at the New York State Department of Financial Services.
And Neil Garfinkel, Real Estate Board in New York.
Okay. I believe we have a quorum.
We do.
All right. First up on the agenda is department reports. Dan Shapiro, update on pending regulations. Or David's going to do it for him. David Mossberg in New York.
Dave just stepped out to get the copy of what was supposed to be distributed.
Okay, so why don't we skip that, and who's doing the full board meetings in Rochester? Future board meetings in Rochester?
That's
Amy.
me.
Amy. Oh, she's
Hello.
in New York City.
Hi, Amy.
How are you? So in the past meeting, there was a request to try to hold some of our meetings or webcasting in the Rochester area for Buffalo. So we had indicated that we would do some research to see if there's any availability. So we were able to locate a location that is overseen by the Department of Labor that had a webcast conference room and is located at 276 Waring Road in Rochester. So they did indicate that they would allow us to use it. It is used for other meetings, so we'll try to schedule around the existing meetings that DOL is having. So what we figured that we would do would be that every other meeting we would have one in Buffalo, and then we'd have one in Rochester if the room's available, and switch back and forth. So people in both regions of the state would be able to attend the meeting if they would like. So, when we schedule the next meeting, we'll verify that the room is available, and we'll schedule it. There's, parking available. It fits approximately 10 people, so as long as they said that that they do have somebody there that can help troubleshoot if there's any equipment problems. So that's how we'll move forward with that region of the state.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Dave, are you? He's
Dave's back.
I can't see that far.
He's
okay.
back.
Dave, can you give us an update on the pending regulations that Dan was going to give us an update on?
Yes. So there are several pending regulations concerning the real estate board. There are a couple of older ones that I'll just mention just to give an overview. As the board may be aware, there were pending regulations regarding commingling of principal funds, compensation of brokers, the additional license safety course, changing the hours or minutes required for a course from 60 to 50 minutes, some advertising regulations, as well as updates to the broker approval course. All of those regulations have received the next step of approval. So we're waiting for one final round of approval, and then we can move ahead and publish each of those proposals in the State Register for formal public comment. I know it's been some time, but we're moving forward on those regulations. There's an additional regulation regarding unlawful discriminatory practices, which is a new proposal which is being presented for discussion today, which clarifies and strengthens current laws regarding unlawful discriminatory practices that are committed by the department licensees. And so that's one of the packages that was distributed to everyone today. What it does is it specifically amends Section 175.17 of Title 19 of the New York Code to clarify that it's unlawful to discriminate. What is added to that is against age, sex, sexual orientation, disability, gender identity, military status, familial status, or any other protected category under any federal, state, or local law applicable to the activities of real estate licensees in the state of New York. There are also other technical changes throughout that section to reflect the additional strengthening of the discriminatory provisions. There's also a new paragraph B added to 175.17 as well. What that provides is that no real estate broker or salesperson shall engage in an unlawful discriminatory practice as prescribed by any federal, state, or local law applicable to the activities of real estate licensees in New York State. And it goes on to state that a finding by any federal, state, or local agency or any court of competent jurisdiction that a real estate broker or salesperson has engaged in unlawful discriminatory practice in the performance of real estate activities shall be presumptive evidence of untrustworthiness and will subject such licensee to discipline, including a proceeding for revocation. Nothing herein shall limit or restrict the department from otherwise exercising its authority pursuant to Section 441C of the Real Property Law, which, as the board may know, is the general provisions which cover untrustworthiness or dishonest practices. And so that is the pending regulation, which is for discussion today.
I'd like to just add one thing to what David did a great job of presenting it, but what I wanted to do was clarify that this new regulation does not add any new additional requirements or burdens on licensees. It's a succinct statement of what they're currently required to do and how the department enforces untrustworthiness, and we have enforced violations or instances of discriminatory practices under the rubric of untrustworthiness, and we have revoked licenses on that basis. This was done in the past, and it's something that we were asked to make clear in our regulations, because nowhere in our regulations do we state that, and we thought that that was obviously a good idea to alert licensees to that fact.
Any questions?
So these are already unlawful activities, which you have acted on in the past.
Yes.
Yes.
And this just gives you a clear path without the precedents alone weren't enough to keep.
The context of this is a renewed focus and attention on the part of the state, specifically Division of Human Rights and the Department of Housing and Community Renewal on these practices. And given the fact that there will be additional attention paid to that, we anticipate that we may be sent information as a department that we may want to act on our licensees. And so given the fact that there's going to be additional communication about practices that may be uncovered, we will be acting on them, and we would want a regulation that makes clear.
You said additional attention that this anticipates. discovery.
I had thought we circulated a press release.
Governor's press release.
So I'm sorry if you
Okay,
didn't
so
see
this
that,
is the
but there is
testing.
exactly, this is an initiative, a fair housing
I just
initiative that is being launched this month, and will be,
Right, so just, you're actually, Linda's getting into the next agenda item, so.
I'm sorry.
The Fair Housing Initiative is something the governor announced earlier this month, last week. Where basically the Department of Human Rights, Department of State are combining efforts to increase awareness and enforcement of fair housing. So both agencies are actually getting together. We're in the process of operationalizing this and sharing information between the both agencies so that we can create more awareness on what discriminatory practices are and also better enforcement of it, enhanced enforcement of it. So that's something that, speaking for the part of the state, that we're working on right now, and that's part of what this meeting is about.
we'll be developing some guidance. Yeah, specific guidance that will go out to all of the licensees so that they're aware.
Right, so there's going to be an education, awareness, and outreach piece to this. So it's not something that's being developed, I don't want to say in the shadows, but we are going to be actively communicating what these new regulations are so that everyone is aware.
Hello? This is Trisha O'Connor.
Yes.
Hi. I would like to assist in that awareness. I represent many of the communities that do face a lot of the discrimination, and real estate licensees believe that they can get away with it because they know that, you know, as a real estate instructor as well, we're taught that there are testers, and they know that there aren't any testers. They know that at the end, they feel that as long as they get their commission, they're going to do what they need to do, if that's what the landlord wants or that's what, you know, the property manager wants. They're going to follow what they want in order to get a commission and get the deal done. I've had many people come to my real estate agents or even my clients or customers who were discriminated blatantly. So I would like to be a part of that awareness because I see it, I hear it, I know exactly what it is, and I would like to assist with that.
Absolutely, we would welcome that. We've done this with other licensee disciplines where we've invited advocates and other organizations in to help us with the messaging, so absolutely, we'd love to have you.
Should I ask about that? Excuse me, I have a question. There was some question as to where the tester focus would be. Is it the entire state or just certain counties?
I don't have the details, but it's my understanding that there's an interest in doing it everywhere and not just focusing in certain geographic areas.
The press release talks about specific areas, none of them in the New York City metro area, all in the upstate area.
I have since seen some correspondence that there will be testing also in New York City, so it's going to be state.
Any other questions? Buffalo, New York City?
I've got a question here in Buffalo. I'm sorry to sound kind of ignorant, but can you just describe the tester or the testing process a little bit? Perhaps something that might not be obvious about it. Just a little bit more background.
The testing process?
Right.
And
is this mic working okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I
good.
just wanted to make sure I understood the question. I understand that the state will be contracting with organizations that do testing professionally and have done it for quite some time, and so there will be organizations that are well versed in how to conduct proper testing so that the correct information is gathered to provide information for investigation by Division of Human Rights. And so I don't have details as to how that happens, but I do know that this is there are practices that have been in place for some time and they will be applied. So forth. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's going to be doing the testing
Actually, yes, Department of State has no plans at the current time to conduct proactive testing. That could change in the future, but I am aware that as part of this Fair Housing Initiative, there are actually contracts with the Division of Housing and Community Renewal, but the information will be shared with the Division of Human Rights for their investigations.
Thank you.
Albany, any questions before we move on to the next agenda? I'm sorry. Not yet. We're getting to the second agenda item. So for the next agenda item, we have action items. We need to approve the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. And those have been circulated. They should be in your folders.
I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Okay. Second action item, we need to get a vote on the fair housing regulations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Who seconds? I didn't hear.
Second, Dan. First.
Dan. Duncan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We should have discussion.
Wait, hold on, sorry.
Before you vote.
We do want to have a discussion. I apologize, Duncan.
Oh, no, just.
Okay. Does anyone have discussions on this before we go to a vote?
I guess I'd just like to, commend the department. It's the spirit of the intent of the regulation already exists. It's important to make it more clear, to bring it to the public, to bring it to all the licensees. Discrimination shouldn't happen, and anything that we can do simply to prevent that, we should do. So I commend the department.
Buffalo, anything?
No.
Okay.
Thank
New
you.
York City, anything? Okay, let's move to a vote. Sorry, Tony. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. It's unanimous. Okay. Any comments?
Good afternoon, Anthony Gatto, General Counsel, New York State Association of Realtors. New York State Association launched Fair Housing Program. New York State citizens vigorously support the idea of race, color, national origin, disability, or familial status, as well as the other additional classes under New York State of local sexual orientation, cultural status, age, gender identity, or being a victim of violence. We'd also like to thank the Department of State for the suggestions made by the Real Estate Board of So thank you very much.
Any public comment from Buffalo?
No, not at this time.
Any public comment from New York City?
Yes, this is Neil Garfinkel with the law firm of Abrams, Garfinkel, Margolis, Bergson. I am also broker counsel to the Real Estate Board of New York. We would like to thank the Department of State, the Governor's Office, and NYSOF for allowing us to participate in the comment period for the drafting of the regulations. We commend their respective staffs, the Governor's Office, the Department of State, for their continued enhancement of our fair housing regulations, which are obviously so important, and we stand ready to continue to assist you. I personally have developed the fair housing class for the Real Estate Board of New York. I teach probably once to twice a month on fair housing, and would certainly welcome the opportunity to assist the Department of State in creating those standards and the education process. So thank you again for the time. We appreciate the opportunity to work with you. And again, we commend everyone for these initiatives. Thank you.
Anyone else in New York City? Okay. Any other business? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? All those in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.